I had the privilege of speaking to bishops, deacons, clergy of a room packed full of people here about 2 years ago. And I asked the question, how many people here know Clifford Robert Olson? The whole room raised their hands like this. Everybody. How many people here know and have heard about this guy named Paul Bernardo? The whole room again raised their hands. And these are clergy and Christian, peace-loving citizens of our community. And I said, how many people here know of John Martin Crawford? Everybody looked at each other and they couldn't figure out whom I'm talking about. John Martin Crawford is the person that killed Indian girls right here in the city of Saskatoon, in the constituency of the premier of that time, Mr. Romano. Why, Saskatoon, do you not know who John Martin Crawford is? So what I'm talking about here that, well, this is just an isolated incident. That attitude has to stop. When those two police officers, unfortunately, were taken to jail that same day, a senior officer stood in front of the cameras and said to the media and the world, no, these things don't happen. This is an isolated incident. It doesn't happen. The self-preservation, the denial, the indifference must stop now. It has to stop now. We cannot drag people kicking and screaming to jails and still denying that they've done wrong anymore. It doesn't show that there is a democracy and a peaceful community in Canada. It shows that we're still very, very indifferent and still racist and still hateful to those people we call to be underprivileged, and it means our Indian people. We want to work cooperatively, but you have to quit denying that there's something wrong. You have to quit saying that everything is perfect. The last point I want to make before I go into SIO is that you cannot always prescribe what's good for us. What is good for us, the Indian chiefs, the leaders, and the elders know what's good for us. We have the solutions. Your solutions are Eurocentric. They're foreign to us. And that's why we have such a conflict. And that's why the two worlds must collide. We have to stop that. They shouldn't have to collide. Because your grandson and my granddaughter might be married sometime in the future. That's a good thing. So we have a responsibility and an opportunity today, and I applaud the College of Law, Dean Brent Cotter and his people, for putting this together, because I think it's forums like this that will bring about the solutions. Not only hear about the complaints, but bring about solutions to a very, very serious chasm, as Mr. Wright called, between Aboriginal people and also the rest of the world in regards to justice. Our Special Investigations Unit, and I see Annette Ermine sitting here, pioneers in paving the way of actually bringing about, giving a voice to the voiceless. The Special Investigations Unit was put together out of desperation. Since its inception, approximately 4,000 calls have come to that line. 4,000 calls. 900 of files have been opened resulting from those calls. Well investigated, well articulated, well documented assaults on our First Nations people. Just to give you an example, there is a commission of public complaints against the RCMP funded by the Government of Canada to the tune of $5 million a year. In the year 2001, out of the province of 1 million people, there was a total of 27 calls to that office from Saskatchewan in 2001. Not one Indian called that office. In 2002, there was 22 calls, all from Saskatchewan. Again, not one Indian called that line. So what we're saying is we have to retain our own facility that is First Nations friendly, because the people that are out there are afraid to use the existing system. They don't know they're there, and they've been conditioned to believe and conditioned to know that nothing ever happens. But when they call our own facility, our own institution, they're heard. Their voices are heard. Something is done. And we do have a service that has proven beyond any doubt that there's still something wrong here. We still average at least 2 calls a day. Police officers out there are still not doing their jobs properly. So we still, knowing full well that there are people watching them, they still go out and violate people. If I was a police officer today, every time I heard Lawrence Joseph, I'd probably want to pull out my pistol and shoot the guy. That's okay. If it pisses you off, well, it's time that you do something about it. Because Oliver Williams said, I'm a cop for a lifetime, and I don't know what's happening next door to me. I don't know what my partner is doing. So I think it's good to rile up people. It's good to get them boiling mad to want to do something. And I know I've had threats at my house, my family, my office, because of the things I say in the public media. But I think if it wasn't for Daryl Knight, if it wasn't for those young men that died, if it wasn't for people like Stella Bignell, Mary Wagner, and families like that, many, many families, having the courage to stand up and say enough already, this assembly wouldn't be here. The government of Saskatchewan and Canada wouldn't start talking about Aboriginal policing, because I think up to this point in time, they thought everything was working just fine. We got employment for our people, the jails are full of Indian people where they belong, and the police are doing their job, dropping people off and getting away with it. Things are great. But not anymore. We have articulate chiefs that are impatient. And we have a dangerous situation where youth gangs are ready to go and create havoc. We cannot afford to lose any more lives to improprieties at the hands of policing. We have an opportunity to work together, to plan together, to strategize together, not to do things for these Indian people, but to do things with them. I just want to close off by what my adopted father said to me, an elder from the Thunderchild First Nation. And you are all leaders, you don't have to be elected. And he said, don't walk ahead of your constituents. Walk with them. You look to the right, some of your constituents are old and feeble and they cannot walk. Look to the left, some of your constituents are little babies, they can't even get up and crawl. Look back here, you have people out there suffering. Walk with them. So I plead to you, ladies and gentlemen, to walk with the chiefs and councils and leaders and elders and community members of Saskatchewan. Walk with them and understand their pain so we can correct the wrongs that have been inflicted against our people. Ichimegwech, thank you very much and God bless.